there is a lady who is not well, and for her shifa, let us recite Amma Yujibu 5 times before we begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mudtarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su'. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. أما بعد، فقد قال أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام في خطبة له: فإنما تلك الحمية تكون في المسلم من خطرات الشيطان ونخواته ونزغاته ونفثاته، فاعتمدوا وضع التذلل على رؤوسكم وإلقاء التعزز تحت أقدامكم وخلع التكبر من أعناقكم، واتخذوا التواضع مصلحة بينكم وبين عدوكم إبليس وجنوده، فإن له من كل أمة جنودا وأعوانا ورجلا وفرسانا، ولا تكونوا كالمتكبر على ابن أمه من غير ما فضل جعله الله فيه سوى ما ألحقت العظمة بنفسه من عداوة الحسد، وقدحت الحمية في قلبه من نار الغضب، ونفخ الشيطان في أنفه من ريح الكبر الذي أعقبه الله به الندامة، وألزمه آثام القاتلين إلى يوم القيامة. ألا وقد أمعنتم في البغي وأفسدتم في الأرض مصارحة لله بالمناصبة ومبارزة للمؤمنين بالمحاربة، فالله الله في كبر الحمية وفخر الجاهلية، فإنه ملاقح الشنآن ومنافخ الشيطان التي خدع بها الأمم الماضية والقرون الخالية، حتى أعنقوا في حنادس جهالته ومهاوي ضلالته، ذللا عن سياقه سللا في قياده، أمرا تشابهت القلوب فيه وتتابعت القرون عليه، وكبرا تضايقت الصدور به. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. We are continuing with our discussion on Al-Khutbah Qasi'ah, the beautiful sermon of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. From which we have already learned quite a bit, and the first 3 or 4 parts that we have looked at have told us about how Allah Azza wa Jal tested the malaika by commanding them to perform sajda in order to honor Adam alayhis salam, and all the malaika obeyed Allah except Iblis, and because of that he was removed from the special mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. He was expelled from Jannah, and because of that Iblis developed in his heart a very deep-rooted hatred for Bani Adam. The hatred that Iblis has for human beings is so great, as we mentioned yesterday, that he is ready to forego the forgiveness of Allah Azza wa Jal in order to continue his enmity and animosity with human beings. The part of the khutbah that we have read today can be summarized into the following points. The first is that whenever human beings, especially those who are Muslims and those who have submitted to Allah Azza wa Jal, whenever they experience arrogance or pride, then it is because of shaitan that they experience that. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhis salam says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Wa innama tilka al-hamiyya. Verily that vanity and that pride, when it enters a Muslim, it is min khatarat al-shaytan wa nakhawatihi wa nazaghatihi wa nafathatih. When a Muslim experiences pride and vanity, it is because of the work of shaitan, the whisperings of shaitan, the temptations of shaitan. That is the first point. That if we in our lives as believers ever feel proud, ever feel vain, ever feel that we are better than others, it is because of the influence of shaitan. And the second point is that Amir al-Mu'mineen tells us that we should fight now back. We should fight shaitan and this temptation to be arrogant using what? Using humility, using humbleness. He says, فَاتَّخِذُوا التَّوَاضُعَ مَسْلَحَةً بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَ عَدُوِّكُمْ إِبْلِيسُ وَجُنُودِهِ. Take tawadu', humility, humbleness to be your weapon, so that you can use that weapon to fight against your enemy shaitan and his soldiers. So in order to fight shaitan, the weapon that we need is the weapon of humbleness. That is the second point. The third point, which is very dangerous, he says, فَإِنَّ لَهُ فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ جُنُودًا وَأَعْوَانًا. Verily, shaitan has in every community soldiers and helpers. In every community in this world, shaitan has his soldiers and his helpers. That is the third point. And the fourth point is where Amir al-Mu'mineen mentions the story of Qabil and how Qabil was filled with jealousy for his brother Habil. And jealousy resulted from arrogance. He said, look how it is that when Qabil had arrogance in him, that arrogance led to jealousy, and what happened after that. فَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالْمُتَكَبِّرِ عَلَى ابْنِ أُمِّهِ. The Imam says, then therefore do not be like that one who was mutakabbir, who was arrogant, who was heavy-handed against the son of his mother, meaning his brother. Here the Imam does not take the name of Qabil. But this is the story of Qabil that he is mentioning here. And he says that it is due to the hasad that Qabil had that he killed his brother. And because he killed his brother, now he is the one who will be punished for any killing that is done on earth after him. Because he is the first person who instituted this act of murder. Therefore, any murder that happens in this dunya, part of the punishment goes to Qabil. And finally, the Imam says that look at the past nations. Look at the bygone nations. They all suffered this same problem and this same disease of arrogance, of vanity. Learn from the history of those who came before you. Why? Because القلوب تشابهت القلوب. The hearts of people are the same, are similar. Those who lived 1,000 years ago and those who live today, they suffer from the same diseases of the soul. If they had a problem with jealousy, if they had a problem with arrogance, we have a problem with arrogance. That is something that has happened throughout the ages to all the nations. So learn from the history that when people were arrogant, what happened to them? When they were jealous of each other, what happened to them? Learn from the history. And so these 5 points therefore summarize this part of the sermon. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali. So therefore we derive these themes from this part of the sermon. Theme number 1 is the theme of the importance of humility, of humbleness. Why? Because the Imam says that now humility is your weapon against shaitan. You want to fight shaitan, humbleness is your weapon. And if you look at those who are true scholars, those who are the great scholars from our history and the school of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, we find that they were very humble people, and they are very humble people. There is one great scholar in Qom, his name is Ayatollah Jaffer Subhani, well-known personality, he has many books. His student was my teacher, and one day in the class he was telling us about how humble Ayatollah Subhani is. He says, I have studied with him for many years, and for a brief period of time I did not attend his lessons. I was not well, so I did not attend his classes. One day there was a knock at my door, and you know they have this intercom system there where you can pick up the intercom inside and ask who is at the door, and the person will tell you who is it, Nani, and they'll tell you, okay, this person has come. So my teacher says, I picked up the intercom and I asked, who is it? And I heard the reply, Subhani. So I thought for a second, who is Subhani? I don't know any Subhani. Because in his mind, this is Ayatollah Jaffer Subhani. But he calls himself simply Subhani. He didn't say, I am. Unfortunately, there are some people, when they call themselves, they say, I am Shaykh, Doctor, Ayatollah, Hujjatul Islam. They give themselves these titles. Look at this scholar. So humble, he calls himself, I am Subhani. My teacher, for a moment, he was taken aback. When he opened the door, he found it is Ayatollah Jaffer Subhani. Humility, humbleness. And this is there in many of the scholars. If you look at Shaheed Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr, one of the great scholars that we had in our contemporary times, he was so humble. Some people, they do things for fame, but those who are humble, they don't worry about fame. They don't care what people think, how much people will praise them, no. Shaheed Sadr used to write a lot of books. There was one book he wrote with a lot of difficulty, and one of his students borrowed that book from him. He said, can I just borrow the book for some time and I'll give it back to you? Shaheed Sadr said, okay, you are my student here, you can borrow it. And he takes his teacher's book and he copies it and he gets it printed under his own name. Now you can imagine, This is plagiarism, where you take somebody else's work and you print it under your name. Somebody comes to Shaykh Sadr and says, do you know what your student has done? He has taken your book, he has stolen your material, and he has printed it under his name. Shaykh Sadr says, Alhamdulillah, at least it got printed. At least people will benefit from it. Humility, humbleness, this is our weapon against shaitan. And that is why when we look at the advice of Luqman to his son, and this is something very beautiful, each and every one of us who have children should read Surah Al-Luqman and see how he converses with his son. And he gives him advice, and beautiful advice. One of the things Luqman tells his son, he says, وَلَا تُصَعِّرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ. O my son, do not raise your nose and walk with your nose in the heavens. This is what one translator has said. Do not walk with your nose held up high, meaning boastfully. And do not be arrogant on this earth. Don't walk boastfully on this earth. Why? Because Allah does not like those who are arrogant. This is one of his advices. So humbleness and humility is so important. What are the signs of humility? How do you know whether you are humble or whether a person is humble? Everyone claims I am humble. What are the signs? We ask our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. What are the signs of humility? He says, at-tawadu'. Humility is ar-ridha bil-majlisi duna sharafik. That you are satisfied to sit in a place that is beneath your status. You enter a gathering, you know that you are a scholar, you know that this is a place reserved for alim, but it's full. Will you tell somebody, haya, soga kidogo, this is my place? No, if you are mutawadi', you sit wherever you get the place. Wherever your first spot, you will sit there. That is a sign of tawadu'. وَأَن تُسَلِّمَ عَلَى مَنْ لَقِيتَ. Number 2, that you give salam and salutations to whomever you meet. Whoever you meet, you say salam to him. You don't see this person is a rich person, this person is poor, this person is old, this person is young, this person I know, this person I don't know, this person, no. You meet somebody who is a mu'min, is a believer, Salamun alaykum wa rahmatullah. That is a sign of tawadu'. And number 3, وَأَن تَتْرُكَ الْمِرَاءَ وَإِن كُنْتَ مُحِقًّا. And that you give up argument even if you are on the right. Even if you are on the right, you are ready to give up the argument. Why? Because you are mutawadi'. You try, you give your evidence, you argue, the person argues, you see, no, this person is not ready to budge, he is stubborn, you give up the argument, it's no problem. That is a sign of tawadu'. If you have these 3 qualities, you are mutawadi'. Number 1, you sit wherever there is place. Number 2, you do salam to everyone you meet. And number 3, when you have an argument, you give up the argument, even if you are right. This is tawadu'. So that is the first theme that we have taken from this part of the sermon, the importance of humility and humbleness as a weapon against shaitan. The second theme that we take from this, which is very important and very dangerous as we mentioned, is as Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, as he says that فَإِنَّ لَهُ فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ جُنُودًا وَأَعْوَانًا. Indeed, shaitan has soldiers and helpers in every community. That means in our community as well. And the ulama say these are not jinnat we are talking about, these are human beings. There are some human beings in every community who are soldiers of shaitan, who are helpers of shaitan. This is very dangerous. We need to look at ourselves. Na'udhu billah that we would play this role of helping shaitan. No. And we find, as we mentioned yesterday, what is it that these people do? What is it that shaitan loves? The first and foremost thing is to cause disunity, is to fracture the community, is to cause disunity between husband and wife. As we know from the story of Harut and Marut, وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمَا مَا يُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ. They learned the magic of separating husband from wife. And that is one of the very dangerous things. If you ever have somebody in the community who plays the role of actually causing separation in families. Separation. We as believers have to play the role of uniting. If we find at any time there are problems, it is natural, sometimes there are problems, we should try and help to patch things up. That is the role of believers, not the opposite. When you move outside the household, you come into the society between believers. Shaitan loves to cause disunity, enmity between believers. لا يزال إبليس فرحا مهتجر المسلمان. Iblis is continuously happy as long as two believers are not seeing eye to eye. As long as two believers are not getting along, he is very happy. And so, if you see anybody in the community causing these kinds of rifts, you know that this person belongs to that group that help shaitan. Whereas our duty is to do the opposite, to bring them together. If you see any two mu'mineen who are quarreling, you bring them together. That bringing them together is known as Islahu Dhatil Bane. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he says, Islahu Dhatil Bane afdalu min ammati salati was siyam. Bringing the mu'mineen back together when they are quarreling, patching things up between them is better than all the prayers and fasting. It is so important. It is so important. This is the value of Islahu Dhatil Bayn. And so we find that there are certain elements in the community that work for shaitan. One of the things, as we mentioned, is to try and cause disunity. But there are other things as well. Our eighth Imam, Imam Ali al-Ridha, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, he says, لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ غَشَّ مُؤْمِنًا أَوْ ضَرَّهُ أَوْ مَاكَرَهُ. Whoever cheats a believer, or whoever harms a believer, or whoever plots against a believer is not from us. These are other examples of satanic traits. Working hard against mu'mineen. If you work against a mu'min, then you are helping shaitan. Because shaitan, as we said yesterday, doesn't sleep. He is constantly working against mu'mineen. However, now it is important for us to think about this, and we should not now start suspecting one another. Oh, you said that there are some shayateen in our community. Oh, I think that one. No, Baba, this is not the case. When we mention this, it is for everybody to look at themselves, not at others. Don't look at anyone else. Look at yourself. Don't look at anyone else. Allah Azza wa Jal is Sattarul Uyub. He hides the faults of people. Don't start looking for the faults of people and then say, no, this is min a'wani shaitan. No. That is not correct. The beautiful story that we have all heard, but it is so beautiful, so we will hear it again, insha'Allah, is about Musa alayhis salam praying for rain. We have heard it so many times. When he prays for rain and Allah Azza wa Jal does not send the rain, And Musa alayhi salam is worried. He says, Ya Allah, why have you not sent the rain? Allah Azza wa Jal says, there is one person in this crowd who has sinned against me for 40 years. So Musa alayhi salam announces, and with the power of Allah, his voice reaches all the thousands of people who had gathered. He said, there is one person amongst you who has sinned against Allah for 40 years. Let that person leave this gathering and then the rain will come. Now that person knew himself. But he thought to himself, if I stand up, nobody else is standing up. If I stand up, everybody will know that I am the one who has sinned for 40 years. So he prays to Allah in his heart, Oh Allah, please forgive me. Suddenly it starts raining. Musa alayhi salam says, Oh Allah, nobody has left the gathering. You have sent the rain. Allah Azza wa Jal says, I've forgiven that man. He sought forgiveness, I've forgiven him. Musa alayhi salam says, Oh Allah, tell me, who was he? Who was he? Allah Azza wa Jal says, Oh Musa, when he was a sinner against me, I did not tell you who he was. Now I have forgiven him. You want me to tell you who he was? Allah is Sattarul Uyub. We know that there are some in the community who are helping shaitan. But that does not mean we go looking for them. Rather, what it means is we should protect ourselves so that we should not be amongst these helpers of shaitan. So the second point, therefore, that we learn from this part of the sermon is that there are some individuals in every community who help shaitan, and we should ensure that we are not those individuals. The third part, the third theme that we can learn from this part of the sermon is the theme of jealousy, the bane of jealousy. As we mentioned, Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He mentions the story of Habil and Qabil in this part of the sermon. He says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالْمُتَكَبِّرِ عَلَى ابْنِ أُمِّهِ. Do not be like the one who was mutakabbir on the son of his mother. He's referring to Qabil. And we know from the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Ma'idah, the story has been mentioned. Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 27 and 28, the Holy Prophet is told, وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ ابْنَيْ آدَمَ بِالْحَقِّ إِذْ قَرَّبَا قُرْبَانًا فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ قال لأقتلنك قال إنما يتقبل الله من المتقين لئن بسطت إلي يدك لتقتلني ما أنا بباسط إليك يدي لأقتلك إني أخاف الله رب العالمين. O Prophet, tell them the story of these two sons of Adam. When they offered the qurbani, the sacrifice, Allah accepted from one and He did not accept from the other. The other whose qurbani was not accepted was Qabil, and the one whose qurbani was accepted was Habil. And when Qabil saw that his sacrifice is not accepted, in that rage of jealousy that Amirul Mu'mineen tells us is from his arrogance. His arrogance led to his hasad, and that hasad led him to come and tell his brother, I will kill you. The rage of jealousy led him to tell his brother, I will kill you. Habil responded and said, I have not done anything. Rather, Allah accepts only from the muttaqeen. If you had given your sacrifice with taqwa, if you had given your sacrifice correctly, Allah would have accepted from you. And then he says something very interesting, that if you extend your hand to kill me, I will not extend my hand to kill you. لَإِن بَسَطَّ إِلَيَّ يَدَكَ لِتَقْتُلَنِي. If you extend your hand to kill me, I am not going to do the same. Why? إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. I fear Allah. Now just a side note before we continue, the Mufassirin say, how is it possible? Isn't it wajib to defend your life? Somebody wants to kill you, they are coming to attack you. Isn't it wajib? He says, yes, it's wajib. That is why some of the Mufassirin say that Qabil killed Habil while he was sleeping. Because if he was awake, he would have to defend himself. He killed him while he was asleep. Alayhi hal. So this was the example given by Amirul Mu'mineen for hasad, for that rage of hasad that came from hamiyya, that came from asabiyya, that came from kibr. There are many root causes of hasad. One cause of hasad is arrogance. If you think you are better than someone and you see that person is moving ahead of you, you cannot tolerate it. There is that rage of hasad. Now, one question we can ask is, why did Amirul Mu'mineen in his khutbah refer to this incident in this way, where he did not even use the word brother? He said, Yabna the son of his mother. Why? The Mufassirin say it is because he wanted to show the strong bond of brotherhood that was there between these two individuals. And then he gives an example. He says in the Holy Quran, we have a beautiful example of this. When Musa alayhis salam had gone up on the mountain and he had left Harun, his brother, in charge of the Bani Israel. And when he came down and he saw that the Bani Israel were worshipping the golden calf, he was very angry and upset. And he started scolding his brother Harun. Now the response of his brother was, قَالَ يَبْنَ أُمِّي لَا تَأْخُذْ بِلِحْيَتِي وَلَا بِرَأْسِي. O the son of my mother, don't hold my beard and my head, meaning don't get so angry on me, don't blame me so much. Here the Mufassirin say he used the son of my mother to try and calm Prophet Musa down, to show him, look, we are so close, we have the same mother. So Amirul Mu'mineen is saying, look here, Qabil and Habil were from the same mother, they had such a close bond, but with hasad, that bond even was broken. This is so important. So that is the example that he gives. And of course, when we talk about jealousy, we know that jealousy is something that can destroy a person. In Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 54, Allah Azza wa Jal says, أَمْ يَحْسُدُونَ النَّاسَ عَلَى مَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Are they jealous of people for what Allah has given them out of His grace? And in a conversation that Allah has with Musa alayhis salam, He says, oh Musa, never be jealous of anyone. Because if you are jealous of someone, that means you have complained against my justice. You have complained against me. I am the one who has given him all these blessings. When you say, why does this person have and I don't have? He should not have. I should have. Then you have complained against Allah Azza wa Jal. You have gone against Allah Azza wa Jal. This is the meaning of hasad. And hasad leads to disastrous consequences. It is said, during the time of one of the Banu Abbas, the Khulafa of Banu Abbas, there was a man who had a lot of hasad and jealousy and envy for his neighbor. So he goes and he buys a slave, a servant, and he treats that servant with so much kindness, as if that servant was his own son. For years, he gives him money, he gives him clothes, he treats him very well, he makes him live in his own house. One day, he calls that servant of his and says, you know why I have been so good to you? I am your master, but I am treating you like a son. You know why I'm so good to you? Because I have one very important task I want you to perform. I want you to do one favor for me. So he said, anything you ask, I will do for you. Because you have treated me with such kindness. So he says, okay, come with me. And at night time, he goes up to the roof of his neighbor's house. That very same neighbor for whom he had envy and jealousy. And he gives a knife to his servant and he says, I want you to kill me here. So his servant is surprised. He says, what? You want me to kill you? He said, yes, that is my only request from you. So his servant says, but why? He says, because this neighbor and me, we were competitors, and he has gone far ahead, and I am burning inside out of jealousy. I want you to kill me so that when they find my body on his roof, then they will arrest him and they will punish him. The servant doesn't want to do it, but his master had taken a promise and he forces him, and so his servant ends up killing the man, and the man's body remains on the roof of his neighbor. This is history. They go and they find the body of this man on top of his neighbor's roof. Immediately the neighbor is arrested and he is taken. Now when they are brought before that Abbasi Khalifa, the neighbor professes his innocence. He says, I am innocent, I have not done this. And then he asks the question, look, do you think I am that foolish that if I wanted to kill this man, I would kill him on my own roof? Obviously I would get caught. So I have not done it. When he said this, the Khalifa thought there must be something sinister going on here. So he told his guards to go and find out and carry out investigations, and they go and they catch this servant. And in the meantime, the servant is burning with guilt for what he has done. He is feeling a lot of guilt. His guilt is biting him. And so when they come to him, finally he confesses. He says, this is what happened. I was forced to kill him. Now this man therefore lost his life because of his jealousy, and he did not even get what he wanted. This is one example of how jealousy will destroy a person. So then how do we remedy this disease? How do we find a cure for the disease of jealousy? This is very important for us to know. There are 5 important points in order to cure ourselves of jealousy or envy if we have this disease. Number 1 is to realize the consequences of jealousy. If you know the natija, the result of jealousy, then you will keep away from it. Our 6th Imam, Imam Jaffer al-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He says, Al-hasad ya'kulu al-iman kama ta'kulu an-naru al-hatab. Jealousy eats away your iman the way fire eats firewood. The way fire will burn firewood, your iman will be burnt by jealousy. So if you know this is the consequence of jealousy, then that will help you to avoid jealousy. Realize that you are suffering in your jealousy. The person whom you are jealous of doesn't even know. You are the one who is suffering. That's number 1. Number 2, the ulama tell us if you are jealous of someone, try to be good to that person. Force yourself to be good to that person. Give them gifts. Smile. Talk good about them. Praise them. In front of them and behind their backs. Talk good about somebody whom you are jealous. That is a second way of remedying the disease of jealousy. The third thing is, remember that this world is temporary. Remember that this dunya is temporary. It is not somewhere you will live forever. Today you are there, tomorrow you are not there. Number 4, know that Allah Azza wa Jal has created everything for a purpose, and He is the one who has given everyone different talents, different gifts, different ni'mah. It is Allah who decides. Remind yourself all the time, this is what Allah has given this person. So who am I to be jealous of this person? And number 5, try and reform yourself and make yourself better. You might become better than this person. Work at it. If you make a concerted effort, you can become better than the person. And these are the 5 ways of removing jealousy. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. And the final theme, which we will finish in a few minutes, is that history repeats itself. Learn from the past. Learn from the past people. There were past generations who also suffered the disease of arrogance. What happened to them? Look at how they were destroyed. It is very easy to destroy a haughty and arrogant and proud person. It does not take much to humiliate somebody who is proud. There was a time when the Abbasid Khalifa Mansur was seated in his palace, and there was a fly that was disturbing him. A small fly. You know, sometimes we have these pesky flies. Some flies, they don't disturb you. They come and they go. There are some that are pesky flies. They come and sit on your nose. They come and sit on your face. They don't leave you. That was the kind of fly that had come to Mansur. Whatever he did, the fly came back. Whatever he did, and he was very upset. At that very moment, our 6th Imam, Imam Jaffer as-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He comes in and Mansur asks him, Ya Aba Abdullah, lima khuliqa al-dhubab? Oh Aba Abdullah, why has Allah created the fly? Why has the fly been created? This pesky creature, why has it been created? The Imam said, لِيُذِلَّ بِهِ الْجَبَابِرَةِ, in order to humiliate tyrants. A simple fly can humiliate tyrants. We pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to grant us the tawfiq to be able to use humility and humbleness to fight against shaitan, so that we are opponents of shaitan and not helpers of shaitan, inshaAllah ta'ala. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة